Welcome to Nagrand Arena. Call it Karma. The Rep Paladin Death Knight Restoration Druid going up against the Turbo from Tony from the Bronx. So, Supa, I know that you play Turbo with these guys, but have you ever faced a Vanguard's Cleave on the ladder?
We saw these guys fight in the last tournament, and Tony from the Bronx cleaned them up 2-0. They felt really stable, and it's really up to Call It Karma to land that cross EC onto Tonyjr. When they go for that stun lockup on Hotttedtko. If Tony's left free to do what he needs to do to keep him alive, I don't think they'll ever take him down. So let's see if they've improved from last week and are able to accomplish a little bit better this time around. But Lossa already starting things off, charging out to Model, throwing up the Rens onto everybody here shortly. Leafia pre-hotting Muggz, as well as Model, pressure onto both players right now. Tony going for a Hex. He's going to get locked out on it by Muggz there. Nice rebuke there, denying some healing early on. Hotttedtko gets hodged in bear form, but they're going to commit to Tony. The Gargoyle, Breath of Cindergosa coming out, answered by the Shamanistic Rage, as well as Ancestral Guidance and Gift of the Naru, as well as Ascendance to keep himself alive there. Hotttedtko is going to be able to only have to use his NS and escape with his Trinket.
Yeah, now Muggz in a lot of trouble actually getting that Ironbark from Leafa. He also got hexed up. Leafa had to trinket that. So now Leafa already down a trinket as well as Ironbark. Uses that NS as well. So already so many cooldowns forced out of Leafia by Tony from the Bronx. Muggz in a little bit of trouble. His wings are fading and they weren't able to really get much. I mean, they got the Shamo, but Hotted still has all his cooldowns, Ironbark as well as his trinket. Vigil's fading right now, so his Hots aren't going to be quite as powerful, but his team's all at 100%. They're very stable. Model taking a little bit of damage. Leafa's mana already down to 63%. Hotted's mana at almost 90%. So even early on, Leafa falling behind on mana, and this could be an issue as the game goes on and on.
Yeah, the Turbo Cleave swapping over to Leafia temporarily, and as you're saying, already bringing him down to 60% mana. Muggz now getting swapped to the Turbo Cleave is everywhere. Tonyjr caught into an Asphyxiate, but a nice double Shockwave out from Lossa, going to peel him during that stun. He's not even going to have to Shamanistic Rage, throws himself a big heal. Leafia pushing in here, maybe going for a Cyclone, but he's going to get swapped to and pressured out. He's going to have to start running away. He's down to 50%, back into bear form, has both Bark Skins available, finally going to be using one. Death Grips Tony off of Leafia, and he's going to be able to escape, but the Turbo Cleave doesn't really care. They're just going to swap the damage over. They know as long as they're stable that they're eventually going to get this game out in later stages in dampening.
Yeah, they just need to keep up the consistent pressure. Like you said, just have Leafa fall behind, doing the occasional swaps to him, slowly working through his cooldowns, and Model's a little bit low, so what they're doing is switching over onto Leafa, forcing him to hot himself. The Shockwave, triple Shockwave coming out from Lossa. That's especially important because if the Warrior does land a triple Shockwave, it does reduce the cooldown on that. The DR Bash coming out onto Leafa. Hotted actually cloning him up. He's cloned up at 39% HP. Now Muggz is the target of choice. Leafa's going to have to play catch-up on himself as well as Muggz. He doesn't have many cooldowns to do so. He does have his NS available. That is Shockwave coming out again from Lossa onto Muggz. Leafa using that Nature's Vigil to empower his Hots. The Ironbark going out onto Muggz, but Leafa hasn't had the time to really top himself off, finally getting those Hots on himself. And this Turbo Cleave still all hovering at like 100% HP. The Hodge finally onto Hotted. Tonyjr taking quite a bit of damage using that Shamo. That's the wings from Muggz. Hotted using that Vigil as well as the NS. Going to be able to stabilize Tonyjr's HP. And Leafa trying to get away. Actually gets the clone off on Hotted, so well done by him. Lossa wasn't able to stop it quite in time. But Leafa getting trained down now. That is the recklessness coming out of Lossa. This is going to be a lot of damage on the Leafa right now. He's in bear form, just trying to tank out that damage. But he has no Hots on himself whatsoever, desperately trying to get away, using that dash. Getting purged out, though. Has some Hots on himself. Now Muggz getting swat too, down to 40% HP. Caught in that Shockwave at the moment. Leafa and Muggz both in a lot of trouble. Hotted, Lossa, Tonyjr completely on the offensive right now. Leafa's mana down to 30%, 40% HP. His mana might not even matter. He might just die. The Ironbark coming out from him. He has that, the Bark Skin coming out. He has that Ironbark up in a couple seconds for himself. He should be able to survive with that. The clone, though, on Hotted, I think it was stolen by Model, so well done by him. Tonyjr hovering around 60% HP. He does have full Hots, though. Hotted gets interrupted on that regrowth, but Tony's going to be completely fine at the moment. Muggz getting swapped to by Lossa and Tonyjr. The Ironbark coming out from Leafa in response.
Yeah, Call It Karma giving up on even trying to go after Hotttedtko, just sticking on to Tony, and it's really not working out for them. Leafia already at 20%, Hotttedtko at 75%. Model AMSing offensively, the Gargoyle is going to get thrown down here. It's going to bring the smack onto Tony. Leafia gets cloned up. He's going to trinket that clone. Muggz still at 50% HP, throws himself a Wog, trying to top himself back off. The Genesis getting spammed out by Leafia, and it's really what's tapping his mana so hard. The stun combination coming out from Call It Karma, trying to take Tony down here and force the Shamanistic Rage. but they don't even get that. Tony's going to pull back here, get topped off shortly, dampening starting in 40 seconds. Hotttedtko rebuffing, trying to maximize as much damage as he can for his team. Stampeding Roar across the map, looking to stop the drink from Leafia. So good awareness by Tony from the Bronx to stop that drink immediately. Leafia still at 17% mana, Muggz down at 50%. It's looking really grim for Call It Karma.
Yeah, absolutely. They really haven't been able to make too much happen all game. There is the Hodge on the Hotted. He was able to get the Trents, though. Tonyjr does have that Shamal up as well. That is the Breath of Syndragosa coming out from Model. The Wings as well. So if they're ever able to make something happen, now is going to be the chance. But it doesn't look like they can really do much of anything. Tony doing an excellent job just running away. Now finally they give up on Tony, trying to get some damage out onto Hotted with their cooldowns, the last remaining bit of it. Hotted taking a little bit of damage, but he's able to just Typhoon them away, get behind the pillar, top him and his team off, and now Leafa down to 5% mana. Model's offensive cooldowns are going to fade, Muggz' offensive cooldowns are going to fade, and they're not going to be able to really make much of anything happen for quite some time with those offensive cooldowns not available. Model under a lot of pressure though. The NS coming out from Leafa, who's still hovering around 5% HP. Lossa has the Recklessness up. This could be big trouble. The double Shockwave coming out on the Model as well as Muggz. I think Model actually trinketed that, or he Icebound forwarded it. Somehow he got a Desecrated Gun, sorry. One of his many trinkets. And now the Tranquility coming out from Leafa gets knocked on that by Hotted. Good awareness by Hotted, stopping that heal, his last sort of desperation heal. And now he's down to 1% mana, and the game isn't going to last much longer unless he can somehow, some way get a drink. He displaces across the map, but his team's just so low, he doesn't have the chance, he doesn't have the opportunity. He can't pick them back up. Desperately trying to get as much heals as possible. The DR Hodge on the Hotted, they're trying to turn it around, but he's going to be completely fine. The Shockwave comes out, the triple Shockwave. Muggz gets down to 17% HP, gets caught in that bow, and he leaves Arena. And I mean, they had no chance at that point to really
there
win.
was no chance.
So I mean, he left Arena, but they really had no chance to win. They were completely, yeah.
I just don't think that's the strategy. That if there's an opportunity for them to win, I don't think that's the strategy that it will happen in.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that being said, leaving the arena may be a sign of some sort of tilt potentially, or maybe not.
I think there's some tilt.
There might be.
I think there's some salt in the wounds.
It could be some salt in the wounds, but maybe we'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they're just like, you know what, this game's over, and they want to move on and not think about that game anymore.
I like that too. I have seen that in the past where people are like, all right, we messed up, we know what we got to do different now, let's just get into the next game instead of just kind of figuring this out now, you know, so.
Yeah, you know, it happens in other games. Maybe it's like a StarCraft game. You just know, the other opponent has like 9 bases, you're stuck on 2, and they just have you surrounded, and you can't really do much of anything. It's better to just leave. You know you lost.
Instead of having the SCVs or the mules.
Yeah, so we're just going to pretend that that's what the situation is. We'll pretend.
I don't know. I feel like because Muggz had his bubble, like, just go and drink. Let him bubble, because he doesn't have to bubble anyway.
Trade the defensive cooldowns for the drink.
Just go and drink.
Yeah, we've seen that.
He displaced away, and I thought actually at that moment he was going to potentially go for a drink. Yeah, but he just decided to keep going, and I mean, what can you do?
I think if he goes for drinks earlier, it's going to actually put the turbo off balance, because they at a certain point aren't going to be able to stop it. Like, you don't have that many gap closers to get to it. So when the game is more stable, go for drinks early.
I mean, you're a druid. I mean, every game I've seen Leafa play, he's just going like really fast, like way faster than.
He's spamming Genesis so he doesn't have to cast. I don't really agree with it.
I don't necessarily agree with it either. You just cost so much mana. I mean, a lot of people. Yeah, I don't know. It is a really strong deal, but at the same time,
I think he should be wearing Spirit Gear. I think he should be wearing Spirit Gear in this matchup. I think that he should be looking for more clones on Tony, and I think they should just go after Hotted. That's their best shot of winning, I think. And play Bash on Tony. But they seem to want to stick with this strategy from the last game. Let's see if they can change it up at all here on Runes of Lordaeron, a much more aggressive map. Model already crossing, going after Hotttedtko immediately, forcing him into that bear form. Muggz actually split DPSing for now. He's going to freedom himself over to Hotttedtko. The Gargoyle being popped here. Hodge onto Hotttedtko. The Wings being pressed here as well. Trinket Ironbar coming from Hotttedtko into a Strangulate. However, the Vigilance has to be used by Lossa, down to 50% HP. He's going to survive the Strangulate into a DR stun, down to 30% HP. He's still not Barkskin. He's going to be able to escape with it. Tony popping Ancestral Guidance and Ascendance healing, but a lot more pressure coming out from Call It Karma. Now we're looking for some more cross DC onto Tony. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, exactly. Muggz now, though, in a little bit of trouble, down to 40% HP. Leafa has that Nature's Vigil up, so his Hots are going to be quite powerful at the moment, able to top Muggz off. Hot is still taking a little bit of damage, but he still has that bar skin, even though he was a little bit scared earlier on. He was able to keep it cool, save that bar skin for this Hodge, hopefully. But Tonyjr just spamming out those heals. Hotted knows he's fine. I played, yeah, never mind. Muggz actually is going to go down. Gets Swifty one shot, and I think he still had his bubble, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Leafia got hexed out of the shockwave and wasn't able to. Didn't have his strength.
yeah. I apologize. I didn't really see that kill going on, but yeah.
Apparently, neither did he, man. But there we go.
So,
Tony from the Bronx, they are going to eliminate Call It Karma and continue on here in the lower bracket. And let's take a quick look at that bracket. Up next, we have Lose Cause of Asper going up against Hello from Zimbabwe. So Lose Cause of Asper, they actually lost in the finals last week to Majid and Flora and Asper. Now, Hello from Zimbabwe are running the same composition as our weekly income, who were the finalists and the champions of tournament number 15. But can they beat this semifinalist? We're about to find out, guys. In just one moment, we're gonna get these teams ready for you and jump into it. So,
and how was it last week? Like, did they get smashed in the finals, or
Yeah.
was it like?